folks, back to form today. 11 messages. This is more like it. Right, this is what we're going to start with. The 50 greatest rock singers of all time. Now, I've seen a latest poll. I think it was done by Planet Rock. Now, like anything else, this is always subjective. We know that. Everybody knows that. You'll have your thoughts. I'll have mine. As simple as that. But I want to go through a few with you to give you a few pointers to what I was thinking and what I saw and what I liked and what I didn't like, and also some bits that surprised me. You see, the thing is with me, folks, I've listened to music all my life, and I'm a right old codger now. I've listened to rock music for many a year. Some may say I'm stuck in a 70s time warp, and to be honest with you, there's some that would say that are probably right. That doesn't mean to say I can't hear or understand a great singer when I hear one. Although those that are put up too highly and that are crap, they annoy me. Like everything does in this game, to be honest with you. If you were to say to me who's the best frontman of all time, I'd struggle to tell you. I'd have 4 or 5. Who's the best singer of all time? I'd have 4 or 5. Who do you like the most singing wise of all? I'd have 4 or 5. It's that difficult. If you asked me to name a supergroup, I'd struggle to do it. I'm the same with guitarists. If you'd asked me for the best bass player I've ever seen and the best keyboard player, that'd be easy. So in a supergroup, I could start with 2. They would be easy, no problems at all there. The other 2 or 3, because I'd have dual guitars or a rhythm guitarist with the lead guitarist, that would be a struggle. But we'll go with the singers. I'll put the bins on for this, because there's a couple I'd like to read to you. They give the top 50 of all time. The number 1 wasn't a surprise. I'm not saying I would have picked him. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I like him very much. I've seen him live, seen most of these I'm going to tell you about. But these are the ones that stood out for me for varying reasons. Right. Before we go any further, let me just say there's 3 on there that weren't even mentioned in the 50. I would have had in the 50. Now, Paul Di'Anno from Iron Maiden, original singer, he'd have got in the top 50 for me. His voice was blown many, many, many years ago now, and maybe he had a limited range, but at the end of the day, for them first 2 LPs, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He would be in my top 50. Sean Harris, everybody forgets him, probably because they've not had that many releases. For all Metallica championed them, they've not been in the consciousness for many a year, and he didn't do much with Diamond Head. I absolutely adore Sean Harris. Many said he was going to be the next Robert Plant. He never got that chance because they never got the big record deals. And the other one that's not in the top 50, and I just cannot believe this with the amount of rock fans voting, I just can't believe this for a moment. Old Diamond Dave himself, David Lee Roth. You can't have a top 50 singers without putting Diamond Dave in there. Just as with Di'Anno, Lee Roth's voice has blown completely gone. For the last 15, 20, 25 years, he's sounded absolutely cack. But I still remember him many years ago at the Manchester Apollo, absolutely leading his band to blow Black Sabbath off the stage. They supported Sabbath in 78, 79, whatever it may have been, and they blew them away. And Sabbath were good that night, nothing wrong with Sabbath. But Van Halen, on the back of just one debut LP, just blew them away. They were unbelievable. Great frontman, great singer in his pomp. Unfortunately, his pomp was many years ago. Right, but I'll read you a few here. They got Sammy Hagar in at 45. I think I'd have had him a bit higher. Phil Lynott at 27. Well, I know I'd have Phil a lot higher. Just a fantastic vocalist for my money. These are all, I've seen Di'Anno, I've seen Lee Roth, I've seen Harris. Di'Anno twice, Lee Roth twice, maybe 3 times. Harris about 12 or 13 times. Hagar maybe twice. Then Phil Lynott 10, 11 times. Brian Johnson, they've got him at 25. I've only seen him once. I wouldn't have had him in the top 30 myself. I know he's leading a phenomenal band in AC/DC. I don't think he's that great a singer, but what he isn't for me, he is for somebody else, and I get that. Roger Daltrey at 22, probably seen Roger about 4 times. I'd have had him higher without a shadow of a doubt. Number 20 we're going to go back to. That's one I've got to keep till last. I've just got to. Axl Rose at 19. Loved the first 3 singles off the first LP. Loved a couple more. But his voice hasn't been the same for many a year. And he's just not a nice bloke. And because of that, I couldn't have him in the top 19. Noddy Older, this one surprised me at 17. Surprised me because I didn't expect him in there. I've got no problem with that at all. Noddy Older, a fantastic voice. A fantastic rock voice. Although some wouldn't put him in the top 50 because they class him as glam rock. They wouldn't have thought of him. I'm glad they did. But to that end, if you've got Noddy Older at number 17 in the top 50, where on earth is Brian Connolly from the Sweets? He's got to be in there, and he was as well. I should have told you at the start with those three. Connolly should have been there for me as well. Fantastic vocalist. And then we go into almost the top 20 now, or well into the top 20. Ozzy Osbourne at number 14. I know you love Ozzy. Everybody loves Ozzy. And he's got a distinctive voice and whatever else, but not 14 for me, not probably top 20. He should be out of probably, he should be in the lower reaches of the 50, along with Brian Johnson, for me. I know many won't agree with that, but that's me, I just say it as I see it. Number 9, Ian Gillan. Number 7, David Coverdale. I've mentioned them together because they both fronted the same band. Gillan's voice went again, blown many years ago, 20 odd years ago. Oh, was he? How many times have I seen Ozzy? Noddy Older, twice or 3 times. Axl Rose, never at all live. I don't think I've seen the Gunners. I don't think I have. I should know, but I don't. I'm pretty certain I've not. Ozzy, 3 or 4 times. Gillan, 10, 12 times. Coverdale, 4 or 5 times. All I will say is now, if you take Coverdale and Gillan, Coverdale will batter him, no problem at all. If you take him in the pomp, in the prime, it'd be Gillan every day of every week for me over Coverdale. Totally different voices, but Gillan would have battered him at his peak for my money. And then we go to the top 4. I can't argue with any of these. They'd all be around in my top 10. Any of these could have been number 1. It's all subjective, mainly for me, but I couldn't knock any of these. Number 4, Paul Rodgers. Wonderful, wonderful vocalist. Probably seen him 4 or 5 times. Wonderful. Robert Plant. Number 3. I think I've only seen him once. No, I've seen him twice. Seen him twice. Can't argue with it. Ronnie James Dio. Number 2. Probably seen him 5, maybe 8 times. I don't know, because I've seen him supporting others as well when he was in Elf. And then at number 1, Freddie Mercury. I'm not surprised. Only seen Freddie once live, but brilliant. But all the top 4 were just absolutely fantastic. But yeah, it's just the placings of some, and there's some in that top 50. There's some I don't know because I'm not modern. I'm not into the more modern rock bands. But I know a couple from there that are in there deserve to be there because I've heard things that they've done. I've heard bits of things. But there's many that I just wouldn't have in there at all. And there's many that I think are much, much too high just because of the names of the band that they fronted. And we will go back to one before I finish. I've got one more thing to say on one singer who made number 20. I've only seen this singer once live, only once. And many says he could have off days, he could be brilliant or crap, not often an in-between. That might be the case, but I can only base it on what I've seen. The day I seen him, he was absolutely horrendous, and I mean so bad, I can't tell you. One of the biggest voices in rock. Many, many, many people love him. I mean, my sister-in-law adores him. Many people do. Lots of women love him. Love the voice, loves the songs, because the kind of songs he does. I've never talked to him at all. Wasn't really a lover of his songs. His best performance for me was a 3-song cameo, I think it was, on the Old Grey Whistle Test many years ago. It might have been 2 songs. And it's Meatloaf. I seen Meatloaf once live in his pomp at his best. He was atrocious. He's definitely one of the worst singers I've ever saw live. He was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And that, folks, is it. There is one other singer, in fact, I'd put in there. There probably are others, but there's one more that springs to mind now. I'd not thought of him. Joe Elliott there. Joe Elliott of the Def Leppard didn't make the top 50, which is surprising. I can't understand that at all, really. He should have made the 50 for me as well. And that's about it. It just shows that the more you think and the more you sit down, you can find and think of even more, can't you? But that's how I see the top 50 anyway, based on what I've seen. Have a look at it if you get the chance. It's the Planet Rock top 50. Let me know what you think. Who's the best singer or the best 3 singers you've ever seen? Who would you have in your top 3? Am I right with the things I've been saying about those singers? Or am I miles off the mark? Let me know. That's what the comment section is for. But that's it from me on this one.